This place was always home, which is interesting now because when I say home, I just mean wherever my family is, where my son is or my partner. But I think at the heart of hearts, home is Pine Ridge, this land, someplace here. I think for so long I was trying to run away because that is the narrative that our kids today even still hear. Get off the reservation, get away from where you're from if you want to be successful in this world. And so I ultimately chose Minnesota State University because I didn't have the resources to figure out how to get someplace even further. It wasn't just getting away from South Dakota, it was getting away from this identity that was put on me as a Native student in South Dakota. I remember my first Native teacher wasn't until my second semester, my senior year in high school. It's important for our kids to see an image of what's possible for themselves. It was my birthday, and I opened up the screen and it said, "Welcome to Teach for America 2014, South Dakota." My stomach dropped and the rest of my body just erupted with joy.
The land is king or queen, always. The land and the wind and the weather dictate everything. You realize that you're not in the Midwest and that you're actually in the plains. And the plains have a different sense of space and history to them. And that's what I realized pretty quickly, is that the land there tells a different story and it reminds you of your smallness in the universe. When I got accepted, my dad lost it. He was like, "Holy crap, you are so lucky. You get to go work with the Dakota." What I realized pretty quickly is the students that I was teaching out on Pine Ridge, their ancestral lands were where I grew up. And so when I thought about real and lasting service, I was like, this is it.
I remember being in church praying. It's like, "God, if you really want me to do this, send me to South Dakota." And I get it. So I asked Vicky to come. She says no. And my dad's like, "Well, don't beg her, you be strong, and if she loves you, she'll come." I got offered a job to teach math at Little Wound High School. And so we're here, and we ended up getting pregnant. And we were really early on. It was like first trimester. And Vicky ended up staying home because she felt really sick. The next day, we go to school, and I'm in my room. Someone calls up and says, "Vicky's not feeling good. I need to take her to the hospital." I just remember crying I'm down on my knees on the ground. The way she was just wailing, it just felt like, I don't know if she'd ever come out of it. And then I remember going back to school and woman after woman coming up and sharing "I've been there, we've been there. We lost one this time, or we lost one this time." And so there was all these ways that people came and shared that pain with us. I already felt like being able to be a teacher was an important role, an important responsibility. But that's when we started to realize that we were part of a family.
I taught at the Spring Creek School, which is a very small multi-grade school, and I taught second and third grades there. At first, they couldn't believe that a teacher would be Native like them. I had to remind them that I am also Dakota. We are the same in so many ways. I played a game one day where they had to fill in the blanks of whatever this secret message was going to be. And the secret message was a new student is coming in May. They were distraught. They were so upset. They were like, "No, this means that you are no longer going to be just our teacher. You are going to be taking care of somebody else." But after that, they would go home, tell their family that we're having a baby. We had formed a family, which is called the Tiospaye in our classroom. And I think that was really special, right? Because all my kids rallied around who was coming.
Lavera was the first student I ever met. I thought students were gonna show up at 8 o'clock. She came in at like 7:05, and I was like terrified. I had nothing. I was like, okay, just sharpen pencils, and she was ecstatic about that. You talk to anybody, and people immediately ask you about alcohol, and ask you about suicide, and ask you about bone-crushing poverty. But until you like go to a powwow or a giveaway or talk to John Warwenhorst at the post office, like you've missed the heart. I've never been in a place before that values people more, because it's a place where you know everybody, and because of that, everyone matters. I mean, that's why I still teach in a school, in a small school at that, is because I miss that.
We didn't leave necessarily because we felt like we had run our course, or we had, achieved something. It wasn't a plan. My father-in-law was diagnosed with dementia, and it was really important for my wife to be there to help. 2 years, it was like, boom, rip the Band-Aid off and you're gone. And I wasn't done. I knew I had to be back here. 5 years later, I'm riding back in the town. Vicky and the kids moved out here with me, and so we've been here ever since. My wife, my kids, they are the greatest gift that I've received in life. Prior to here, family was the people that I was born into relationship with. We shared blood. But then there's this whole other group of people that you choose and that choose you. And that's also family. And that's also important. And you need to value that and celebrate that and protect that. I'm proud of the work we're doing because the NACA Inspired Schools model is to take indigenous, local leadership and elevate that, because the answers that He Dog community needs or that Todd County needs are there. We just haven't done a really great job historically as a country of respecting those voices and listening to them.
I am now on Teach for America South Dakota staff, and I help support many of the elementary teachers on Pine Ridge. I think that our classrooms are the place where change can happen, where minds can grow, but that requires that our teachers also allow their minds to grow as well. And I think it has to make you think of your actual purpose and what you want to be doing here. Like here on this planet.
I always chafe at people say, you do your 2 years of service and then you're done. It's like, no, you don't understand. It's changed my DNA. Like, I'm gonna be doing this work for the rest of my life.
This can never be done. I can never be done. I don't care how long you try. You can try from now until the day I die at like 110 years old to convince me that kids here are less intelligent or less talented than somewhere else, and I will never believe it because I've seen it. And knowing that firsthand from teaching here, it's in your blood forever.
I need allies, especially allies who have a lot of privilege, to give that privilege to my kids so that they can play the game, so that they can then beat the game, so that they can change the game.
We might be sprinkled all over the place, but we're still doing this work. We're still about these kids, and wherever we are, we're finding these kids. These kids are not just located in Kyle or in St. Francis, they're in pockets all over the country, and they don't need us to save them, they just need us to believe in them.
I conduct research and evaluation to improve the lives of American Indian and Alaska Native children.
I live and work in Rapid City, South Dakota, where I'm the principal at Canyon Lake Elementary School.
I am the after-school facilitator at the Akwesasne Mohawk School.
I run a social venture that empowers adults with developmental disabilities.
I serve Red Cloud Indian School as a project coordinator.
I'm teaching middle school math in Chicago.
I'm now the K-12 policy advisor in the great state of North Dakota.
I work with the Tribal Health Administration on maternal and child health issues.
I'm currently the
Dean of Education at St. Iglesias University.
I work hard to make sure that all children have access to healthcare and mitigate health disparities.
I work on the Yankton Sioux Reservation where I teach Indian Studies and Tribal Government.
I work with the Syracuse City School District to improve outcomes for low-income students.
I'm working on my master's to become a counselor for children in Native communities.
I now live and work in Austin, Texas, where I am an editor, poet, and professor.
I currently serve on the Teach for America Indianapolis regional team as an instructional coach.
I live in Nashville, and I'm working on getting all students college and career ready.
I work with refugee youth, teaching sheltered instruction U.S. and world history classes.
I live in Nashville, Tennessee, where I still teach high school literature. This year, I'm finishing up my 10th year in the classroom.